Lashanda Runs Dry. Summertime is always beautiful on the island of New Florida, and the preschool railers love this time of year. One day, Lashanda was taking a special tourist train to St. Nicholas. Some passengers were going to see a play about a special movie called The Little Engine That Could. Mr. Cakester was there. "Today, Lashanda," Mr. Cakester said, "I would like you to go to the yard and collect a daytime megatrain." "That sounds like a plan, sir," Lashanda said, and she steamed out of the station. Before long, Lashanda buffered up to 56 cars, and she steamed into the countryside. "I enjoy doing work like this," Lashanda said, "because women trains like me are always really useful." She felt pleased with herself for all the hard work. And then she came onto the main line. "I can do this work as much as the other engines can," Lashanda said, "because Hernata and Mency are taking a dangerous material train all the way to Chicago, Illinois for BNSF. She felt pleased with herself as the train rolled along. A few minutes later, the MBTA commuter rail Framingham-Worcester line was making way to South Station in Boston, Massachusetts. It had 4 bi-level cars and 3 single-level cars, and the locomotive was P40DC 4800. And inside the passenger car, the passengers were enjoying their view. And then the MBTA train roared by. Over in the office building, some employees were having their lunch break in the atrium while they listened to the train whistle, which was led by Lashanda. And before long, Lashanda's whistle sounded and she came into view. "Here I go," she said, muffled from the glass. "We women trains can do work anytime we feel like it." And she felt pleased with herself for all the freight cars she was pulling behind to be really useful indeed. "Look at those freight cars," said a woman. "They have lots of stuff in them." "They do," said a man. "I wish we could use freight cars like that." And the train rolled along while it was being really useful, and the whole train went over the bridge all the way to the other side. Just then, the SEPTA train in Pennsylvania was making way to Philly. And in the coach, some employees watched the train roar by while the train rolled along. I hope I don't have a leak in my boiler, said Lashanda. But she spoke too soon. Water began to leak onto the track. Then she began to run dry. I can't move without fuel, she said. That would be dangerous. Before long, she came to a steep grade and made her way up the hill. This would be the perfect time to patch up my boiler, said Lashanda, because I can't leak water onto the tracks. And she felt pleased with herself and took a deep breath, and she kept calm all the way up the hill while she was being really useful. And the guard got out of the brake van with a welding kit and a shield, and the freight cars heard the welding from up front, and they rolled up the hill, and at last Lashanda's boiler was repaired. I'm not leaking water anymore, Lashanda said. I must get over this hill before I go fast. But she spoke too soon. She steamed slowly up, and my boiler's fixed, she said. I don't want to leak anymore. And then she began to go faster. Oh my goodness, cried Lashanda. I'm out of control! Help! The freight cars were full of lots of stuff, and they went faster and faster. Whee! They laughed. This is fun! And the train was out of control. I can't stop! Cried Lashanda. I'm out of control! She was so terrified, she couldn't stop. These cars are too heavy, she cried, and I can't stop my train! Help! But then and her driver and fireman did a pinky promise to hope there would be no collisions or derailments. But they spoke too soon. I want to stop this train, cried Lashanda. There's nothing on the line ahead. I'm all good. But she spoke too soon. Jabrina was stuck behind a semi-truck, and it had a flat tire. And Lashanda was out of control. Watch out! I can't stop! Her driver slammed on the brakes. But it was too late. Ooh! Pushed across! Cried Jabrina. Sorry, Jabrina, Lashanda said. I couldn't stop in time. Don't worry, Malby said. But there's a container of gasoline. Before she knew it, Hernata and Mency were pulling a big freight train of hazardous materials. It was very long. I hope we stop in time because something's in our way, Hernata said. It takes a woman train a long time to stop, cried Mency. Lashanda hid in the tunnel to avoid being nuked and blown into oblivion, and Hernata's driver slammed on the brakes. But they were too late to stop. Oh no! They crumbled the railing! They flipped upside down as an upside-down derailment, and then fire raged. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the 3 other flat cars and brake vans stayed on the tracks, and Hernata and Mency were on their side. We're sorry, they said. We couldn't stop in time. Don't worry, Jabrina said. We'll have the mess cleaned up in no time. I'm always being really useful while I do work, Malby said. Just don't crash. Exactly right, said Lashanda. We won't crash like that again. Later that day, all the engines were being repaired. You were all really useful today, Becky said. Why, thank you, the 4 engines said at the same time. Then Mr. Cakester arrived. Great work escaping the blast, said Mr. Cakester. You are a really useful engine, Lashanda. Thank you, sir, Lashanda said. I really am a useful engine. And even though that wreck was pretty mild, there's no other thing repeated in future.